As he leaned over her, time didn't just slow, it surrendered. His breath trembled, afraid the moment might break, and her eyes, soft shining, pulled every unspoken truth out of him. He wasn't just looking at her. He was falling helplessly, hopelessly, entirely. And for the first time, love felt like destiny breathing between them. The moment he leaned over her, the world seemed to forget it had anything else to do. The air between them grew still, thick with emotions neither of them had the courage to name, yet both felt with aching clarity. His shadow fell across her like a quiet confession, and the soft glow of the evening light wrapped around them as if it too knew something sacred was unfolding. He didn't touch her, not yet, but the closeness alone was enough to send a trembling warmth through her chest, a warmth that made her remember every lonely night she thought she'd forgotten. His breath hovered just above hers, shallow, hesitant, searching. He had never been this close to her before. Not like this, not in a moment so unguarded. For a heartbeat, he almost pulled away, but her eyes stopped him. Those eyes, soft and glistening, looked up at him with a mixture of surprise and something deeper, something fragile and fearless at the same time. It humbled him, terrified him, drew him in. He felt something stir inside him, something that had been quiet for far too long. He didn't know if she could see it, the storm of longing, the fear of losing her, the silent hope that maybe, just maybe, she felt even a fraction of what was drowning him. Because every time he looked at her, he wasn't just looking. He was falling, slipping deeper into a place where logic didn't exist, where his heart made decisions his mind never approved of. She felt it too. The closeness, the tension, the weight of unspoken words pressing between them. Something inside her chest tightened painfully, beautifully. She never believed in moments like these, moments where someone's presence could fill the entire room, could quiet every fear, could make her forget how carefully she had built walls around her heart. Yet here he was, close enough to feel the faint rise and fall of his breath, close enough that she could no longer pretend he didn't affect her. Her fingers curled slightly against the cushion beneath her, steadying herself as if the feeling of falling was too sudden. She wondered if he could hear the rush of her heartbeat, wondered if he understood how deeply he was pulling her in without even trying. She had seen him smile 100 times, heard his voice in 1,000 ordinary moments, but this closeness, this version of him stripped of pride and softened by something raw, was different. It was dangerous, and she couldn't look away. His gaze dropped for a second, just a second, to her lips, and the world inside her chest collapsed into something helpless and trembling. He didn't realize he had done it. He didn't realize how much it would affect her. But she did. She felt her breath catch, felt a wave of warmth sweep through her, felt her heart whisper a truth she wasn't brave enough to say. He looked back into her eyes, and in that simple exchange something shifted. He knew she felt it. She knew he felt it. Silence wrapped around them, not empty but full, full of everything they had never said, everything they were too afraid to ruin with careless words. He lowered himself a little more, still not touching, but close enough that she could feel the warmth radiating from him. And in that closeness his mask fell. He wasn't the confident one, the strong one, the controlled one. He was a man standing on the edge of something that could change him forever. His eyes softened, revealing a vulnerability he didn't show to anyone. She saw it, and it broke her in the most beautiful way. Her breath trembled as she whispered his name. Not loud, not bold, but fragile, filled with a tenderness that made his heart ache. It was the first time he realized how deeply her voice affected him, how much he craved hearing it in moments like this. He swallowed hard, fighting the urge to close the last inch between them. He wanted to touch her, to feel her heartbeat beneath his fingertips, to know she was real. But more than that, he wanted to honor the moment. This rare, delicate thread of emotion that could snap if he moved too fast. So he stayed there, suspended in a moment that felt infinite. And for the first time in his life, he didn't feel the need to rush. For the first time, being close to someone felt like coming home. She felt it too, the sense of belonging, the quiet ache of yearning, the certainty that this moment was not an accident. It was the beginning of something neither of them could stop now, even if they wanted to. Their hearts were already entangled, and destiny had just taken its first breath between them. He didn't move for a long moment after that, just stayed there, hovering above her, held captive by the fragile magic pulsing between them. Something inside him told him that if he stepped back now, The entire world would collapse into the silence he had lived in for too many years. Yet if he moved closer, if he crossed the invisible line between longing and surrender, nothing in his life would remain the same. And he wasn't sure which terrified him more. She was the first one to blink, but even that small movement felt like a confession. Her lashes trembled, her breath quivered, and her eyes softened with a depth that made his chest ache painfully. There was something about the way she looked at him, like she could see the parts of him he never admitted existed, the parts he hid behind calm words and practiced smiles. It disarmed him, stripped him bare. He lowered his gaze again, unable to stop himself. The faint curve of her lips stole the air from his lungs, and for the first time, he felt truly powerless, powerless against the softness she carried, against the warmth she awakened in him, against the way she made the world feel less sharp and more fragile. She swallowed slowly, her throat tightening with a feeling she didn't yet understand. His closeness did something to her. Something she couldn't name but felt everywhere. In every heartbeat, every breath, every trembling moment hanging between them. Her fingers tightened on the cushion, not because she wanted distance, but because she needed something to hold on to before she accidentally reached for him. He noticed. He noticed everything. And it only drew him in deeper. "Are you scared?" he whispered, his voice barely audible, the kind of whisper that wasn't meant to be heard by the world, only by her. It wasn't teasing, it wasn't confident. It carried a gentleness she didn't expect, a sincerity that wrapped around her heart like soft hands. She shook her head slowly, her eyes searching his. "No, I'm not scared." Her voice cracked slightly, betraying the truth neither of them dared to admit. "I just don't know what this is." He exhaled shakily, his chest rising and falling with a vulnerability that made him human, raw, unmistakably real. "I don't know either," he admitted, his voice trembling for the first time. "But whatever it is, it's pulling me toward you." Her breath hitched, her heart pounding so loudly she was sure he could hear it. No one had ever spoken to her like that. Not with practiced charm, not with empty promises, but with a sincerity so deep it felt like a hand closing around her soul. A moment passed, then another, and then he did something that shattered whatever was left of her defenses. He gently brushed a loose strand of hair from her face. His fingers didn't linger, didn't wander. The touch was soft, hesitant, sacred, but the warmth of it sent a shock through her, a warmth that traveled from her cheek to her heart, leaving her breathless. Her eyes fluttered shut for a second, not because she wanted to escape the moment, but because it was too much to feel all at once. Emotion, longing, fear, hope, all tangled together until she wasn't sure where one feeling ended and another began. He watched her captivated, the way her lashes rested against her cheeks, the way her chest rose with quiet, trembling breaths, the way her lips parted ever so slightly. It was all too much, too beautiful, too dangerous. He leaned a little closer. She opened her eyes and their gaze collided, soft, deep, trembling with everything they were too afraid to speak. This time she was the one who whispered, "Why does it feel like you've been in my heart longer than I've known you?" The question pierced him. Not because it was dramatic, but because it was true, too true. He swallowed, his throat tightening as he answered, "Because I think I've been waiting for you longer than I realized." The honesty in his voice washed over her like warm rain. It wasn't a confession of love, not yet, but it was the beginning of something that felt like destiny stretching awake between them. Her hand moved, slowly, uncertainly, resting on the couch just an inch from his. She didn't touch him, but the invitation was there, trembling in the space between their hands. He looked at her hand, then at her eyes, and in that pause the world held its breath. He reached out, not to grab her, not to claim her, but to let his fingers rest near hers, close enough that their skin warmed the air between them. It was the softest touch of souls, not bodies. And in that gentle nearness something shifted, something irreversible. She felt it. He felt it. A quiet promise formed between their hearts, spoken without words. "This is only the beginning."